Hello everybody, my name is Garrett, and I know it's been a hot second since I did my last video, but today I've been feeling a little bit under the weather, so I decided since I'm not doing anything, might as well do something, you know, to not be completely useless. Anyhow, so I've had a computer for quite a while now. I never actually did a video of me building it, mainly because I was just so freaking excited that when I put it together, I just totally forgot to do that. Anyhow, but it's been a couple of months now since I did its last cleaning, and I decided, you know what the heck, why not just take the entire thing apart and bring you guys along on the adventure of building a computer. So, without further ado, away we go! Alright, so sorry about the kind of darker shot here with this glass panel on it. It's kind of stupid to shoot, but anyhow, this is my computer. As you can see, there's a whole crap ton of dust in here, so we're gonna clean all that out. We're gonna work on some of this cable management here, and hopefully we'll be able to get a nice sexy machine running. Alrighty, so for the first order of business for our machine here, I took off the front plexiglass plate here. This is covering up the front fans, but as you can see, there is so much dust on this thing. So I actually love cleaning this computer just because of how cool it is. But it does become a pain every now and again. So when we take apart this computer in particular, and flip it on its side here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the 4 thumb screws, one on each corner of the plexiglass. Alright, now that we have, or did I say plexiglass before? I'm sorry, this is tempered glass. So plexiglass would be pretty cool, but we don't have that, so oh well. Anyhow, but now that we have the front panel off, you can really get a good look on the inside. There's so much dust inside of here. It's actually kind of embarrassing. And also the cable management isn't the best in the world, so we're gonna have to work on that. But you know, it's part of the duties of being a computer owner. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to remove the dust filters off of the magnetic, actually, which is pretty freaking cool. Dust filters off of the top here, and then the front filter here. Now then, you can see just how absolutely atrocious these things are. I'm actually really glad that I have these because of how much more dust would be on the inside of this machine if they weren't there. Now that we have those off, we can start removing some of the internal components. I had this extra fan in here blowing just straight onto my graphics card because I got a VR headset, and whenever I would plug it in, the temperatures would jump all the way up to around 70 to 80 degrees Celsius. And for computer nerds, you will know that that's not a good thing. And well, it's just not a good thing in general, actually. So I got this extra fan on there, and then that brought it down to a constant 70, excuse me. And so what I want to do next is get another one of these NZXT Kraken all-in-one water coolers. It's got the pump it's got a pump, the radiator, and then the actual head itself. And then for another couple of dollars, or I believe at the time of this recording, it's about $20. You can buy a mount that you can hook it up to the side of your graphics card, so that you can put this their water block onto the graphics card to be able to cool it better. Anyhow, but that's just a super simple, cheap way of getting water cooling on a GPU. Now then, I also forgot to mention, this is the dust filter for the power supply, which is on the bottom of the computer here. Roswell did a really good job of the construction of this case. I really do like it. When I got my computer, I had just been using a chassis that I grabbed out of actually someone's garbage can. And so when I was using it, it was definitely not meant for the hardware that's inside of here right now. It was running at idle 70 degrees, and as soon as I started to do any gaming of any sort, I would get an alert that temperatures had gotten up to 80 degrees, and I said, that's it. So then I went out, did a lot of research, and I really fell for this case. I absolutely love it. I know hopefully be able to get some really good shots of it later on, but I like this case. It brought my temperatures down from 60 degrees Celsius in idle temperatures, and then it brought it from that down to 20 to 30, which is pretty freaking amazing, especially for Arizona. It gets hot here. So the design of the case, the layout of the case, I really do enjoy this case. I highly recommend it to anybody who's looking for a nice, slick computer that has that tempered glass side. I purchased the one that has the blue LED fans, just because blue's pretty sexy. Now that we have that all out of the way, we can start taking care of getting this radiator off and getting the motherboard out. Well, I guess there's nothing else to it. Let's just get going. Now we have our graphics card out. I have an Asus GeForce GTX 1060. I love this card. Before I was running a Nvidia Quadro. I can't remember after that, but it's like a 10-year-old card. So this was a absolutely massive upgrade to that. As you can see, this thing is super dusty. It's caked in dust. So we're gonna take this apart and thoroughly clean out all of the fins, what the heck is it called? Fan, there we go. We're gonna be cleaning out the fan, the heat sink, the shield here. We're just gonna deep scrub this thing. Hopefully that should also help with our thermal improvements, and well, that's the aim for this entire build here, is to get everything cleaned out as perfectly as possible, and then hopefully we'll be able to get our temperatures to a more reasonable level. Alright, so now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to continue with the taking apart of getting this motherboard out. I'm unsure right now of if I'm going to take the water block off, because I do have some thermal paste. I've been using the Arctic MX4 thermal compound, and it's been working for me. I have no problems whatsoever with it. But I only have this one tube, so I need to go sparingly on it. I think I've made up my mind. I probably will take this water block off so we can get a better look at it and what makes it tick. Alrighty, here we go. Alright, so we have that out of the way now. As you can see, there was a fairly poor thermal paste application on my part. Not enough pressure on this end right here. That part of the die didn't have enough thermal compound on it. You can never have too much thermal compound, so that was my own stupidity. That might have been bringing down the temperatures a bit. But we have the NZXT Kraken all-in-one water cooler. I love this thing. It's the first water cooler I've ever had, and I have no problems with it. When I was building this computer, I really did a lot of research into components that would last long, that didn't have any issues with other people. But on this, you can see that is supposed to be black. It's gray with dust. There's so much freaking dust in this computer. Where I also, when I cleaned it out the first time, I just had it sitting on the floor, and it was pretty bad. But then I put it on a chair next to my desk, that way that it would be up off the floor, and it's helped quite a bit, but still, there's so much dust in this thing, so we're gonna have to work on that. I just grabbed a box of tissues here so that we can clean off the thermal compound off of the water block and off of the CPU. So let's do that right now, and then we'll get on with the destruction. My processor is a AMD Ryzen 5 2600. It's a 6-core processor, 12 threads. I love it. Beforehand, I was running a i3. I'll have to look that one up again. I can't remember. I'm the worst with remembering that kind of stuff. But as soon as I got this stuff, at one point, I had it absolutely 100% memorized on everything I had in that computer, but then as soon as I got this one, well, all that went out the window. So let's clean this bad boy off. I would, however, like to upgrade to a AMD Ryzen 9 3900X. However, everybody in the computing world probably does. Well, everyone on Team AMD, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So we'll have to sit. That'll be a for a later project that we can save up for. But I'll shut up now and get back to, you know, cleaning and stuff. As my motherboard here, I have an Asus B450 Plus. Great motherboard here. Yeah, I have no arguments about it. It's a good board, looks awesome. It's got this really cool, I forget what it's called now. Anyhow, but it's got an LED that runs along the outskirts of the board on the front here, and it glows this really cool orange color. I like it. You'll probably see it when I do a fire up video, but yeah, on we go. Okay, as I said before, I have a real bad problem with my cable management. I managed it just as best as I could, and it's still pretty terrible. So we're gonna also take care of that today. So I'm gonna be taking out my power supply, I'm gonna be taking out my hard drives, and I'll be just absolutely ripping that rat's nest out of there. So for my storage, I've got a couple of these, I got a couple laptop hard drives that I got my hands on, and I noticed that, you know what, they're the exact same size as a SSD. So I used the mounts that were on the back of the chassis here, and just decided, you know what, let's throw those bad boys in there as well. So we did that, and I also, to begin with, I had a couple regular hard drives in here. Let's see if we can get in here and get those bad boys out of here. Maybe. So I got a couple Seagate 500 gig hard drives, and these just slid right into the hard drive bay in the bottom here. Yeah, they've been working so far so good. I used to have a Seagate 1 terabyte hard drive. I actually had 2 of them. They were salvaged from a well, I'm actually not sure where. I just kind of picked them up, but they had a few 100,000 hours of runtime on them, so my guess is that they were at one point in a storage server, and when I tried using them after a couple months of use, they both corrupted. So I lost some video files on that, which was kind of sad for me. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's the struggles and dangers of using, well, salvaged parts. But it is what it is. So now we're going to get rid of this absolute rat's nest back here. So one of the things that I saw when I was picking up this case here is they've got this huge slit in the side in between the back of the plate here and in the front of the plate here. That way you can run all of your cables through this little slot here. I love that. It's great. It's awesome. Only complaint with this computer is down here. I just have so many cables. It's terrible. So I got a Roswell 750 watt power supply, the 80 plus gold. And then when I got that, I decided, you know what? I already have one of their power supplies. Let's get one of their cases. And like I said, I don't have any real complaints with this chassis, except for right here in between the back of the power supply, and right in between that and their hard drive bay. There's that much space for cables. It's so small. That much space. So there's really no place to put all of your cables. So I just kind of had to mash them in there. It's not the prettiest looking thing, but I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm gonna try and do a little bit better with this, with my attempt after I clean this thing out. But yeah, we'll just have to see. Now that we have all of the major parts out of this computer, we can begin by taking out these fans, and then we can clean them. Now that we're done with that, we can start working on our all-in-one cooler. I actually haven't opened it up. I've only seen just the dust on the side here and a little bit on the fan blades. The way I had this situated is it was up against the roof of the case, and it would be sucking air in this way and exhaust out through the top. So hopefully it shouldn't be as bad, but still, the back fan was absolutely atrocious. So I hope that it won't be as bad as those ones, but I guess we're about to find out. So let's get cracking on that. I get it, because it's the NZXT crack. Alright, I'm gonna go kill myself.